Welcome back. Well, yes, Prof. I mean, both of you say we have a challenge with our constitution. It didn't emanate from the people, so it's a problem on the say with the people. But then, if we have a challenge implementing to the letter the one we have, what's there to say that we won't have the same kind of challenge, even if we have a new constitution?
Well, people say that fish starts getting rotten from the head. So if you have the proper and correct political leadership that is fully sensitized to the needs of the moment and prospects of the country in the future, then these encumbrances can be done away with. So it's a leadership issue. Yes. It is not the constitution that is so critical. Who are the leaders? Look at a country like Britain. They have no written constitution. Exactly. But the conventions are there guarding and guiding the leadership. They know what needs to be done. And you know when to quit, when you can't perform. Their things are well organized. But in Nigeria, you have a recap of Alibaba and the 40 or how many thieves, who there's no honor among those who were put into office to protect our interests. That is why, for me, the question of leadership is critical to good governance. If we want good governance, it starts with those we put in leadership positions.
But speaking about followership, because they say that's also a very key component in the scheme of things. I mean, Dr. Moghalu was talking about the parties. Almost everyone thinks, look, why do we need to register more political parties? Now, if we, as the people, don't see that for those who have gone to seek registration, how do we then get convinced that the people can see a reason to come together and vote these other people out if we can't pull together?
Well, as I said previously, we have to redo our laws, electoral laws, to exclude parties that have little or no following, no followership, like you said. There was a time in this country when people said, the more the merrier. Let us have a political contestation of many parties. Even in England, you have raving lunatics forming a party, but nobody takes them seriously, okay? And in the United States, by the way, it's not just the Democrats and the Republicans. There are other parties, what you call fringe parties. What we need to do is to separate the wheat from the chaff. Let us know parties that have a following, minimum prescribe certain criterion for them, for recognition. If you fail to get 5% or whatever vote, then you lose your registration. If you fail to present candidates for office, when people wanted money for parties, there was an epidemic of party formation. But now, I'm not sure the state now allocates money to parties. So parties should be self-financing. In that situation, therefore, is the money bags, those who have the means that can sponsor the political parties. See Barack Obama, how he galvanized the American population to make contributions, even $1, $2, for him to have a credible position within the American system.
Do you see that working here?
No, there's no reason why we cannot borrow good examples. The customs house is yet to be built that will prevent the export of good examples. So if we look at the world, and like Kingsley was saying, I'm enthused by his position. Like, we want to make this country a better place. It's the 21st century. We are not in the 13th century. We are not living under feudalism and ignorance. You have Nigerians who have gone to school all over the world, who have seen what the world is. Our children, they are on the internet. They are surfing, they are browsing, they are in touch with what is happening in the world at large. So I don't see why we should be looking backwards and thinking that, well, Nigeria is doomed, we are God-forsaken, and that's not going to be a solution to our problems. I think what if somebody like him becomes president, what I expect him to do is to set in motion the process for a constituent assembly. It's a prime or primary issue. The constituent assembly will fashion a new constitution, which will be subjected to a national referendum, as I said earlier on, for legitimacy. Yeah. This constitution we are operating is worse than useless. You want to amend, how many amendments do you want to go through? I did a program in your station several years back with a man who is now in Senate. He wears this full scarf, right? I forgot his name. He's a senator for Grand Alliance, Ume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We did a program here, and he said, we are sick and tired of panel beating. He said, if you panel beat a car so many times, you just discover that you are wasting your time and money. You are better off with a new car.
But the thing is, he's in the Senate now.
He is.
But as one person from his party, we don't know how much of an impact he can make. And that's perhaps where I should ask them, Moghalu, for instance, now, you can't go it alone. You need a critical mass to achieve some of these things. Even if you are the president, you need the legislature, both of them. The state assemblies have also got to perhaps be on the same page to move the country forward. For instance, if they say, while you were in CBN, were you able to make the kind of impact you wanted to, and do you think you can do the same thing at the national level?
Yes. Well, first of all, let me answer that. At the Central Bank of Nigeria, we made a huge impact in the economy of this country under the ultimate leadership of Governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. I was Deputy Governor for Financial System Stability, and I was responsible for implementing the reforms that stabilized Nigeria's financial system and Nigeria's banks. Our banks, many banks would have collapsed if not for the work that we did. We made sure that no bank failed. We made sure that no Nigerian depositor lost one kobo, despite the problems we had in the system. In other parts of the world, many banks collapsed after the global financial crisis. So we were very successful in the central bank. But that was because the central bank was an independent institution, and we ran it as an independent institution. So now, can that be replicated at a larger scale in political leadership? I believe so. People often talk about, the fact that I am seeking the presidency, but the National Assembly is controlled for now by APC and PDP. And I'm seeking the presidency on the platform of the YPP, the Young Progressive Party. First of all, let me tell you that the Young Progressive Party, the YPP, is going to have many candidates for many other positions other than the president in the 2019 elections. We will have candidates for Senate, we will have candidates for House of Reps, we will have candidates for governorship. So, therefore, we are going to have members of the party who occupy positions in the chain of governance. But even if we don't have the majority of the National Assembly, this is where the whole question of leadership comes in. If you are a leader with a vision, you can talk to the leadership of the National Assembly, whether or not they are of a different party, and get them to work with you in a way that serves the interest of Nigerians. That's what leadership is all about. You can call them to a table and say, look, here's the vision. Here's our enlightened self-interest. Despite the fact that we're of different parties, we can pass this law or that law. So you can actually make it work.
But I think if I could use this as an example, then you could correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Yes.
The acting president.
Yes.
He's vice president
Sure.
when the president returns.
Sure.
But over time,
Yeah.
there are lots of people who they consistently spoke about how they think something should be done.
Yes.
But upon being acting president, he gave that instruction yesterday, and we've seen some response from the police authorities.
Sure.
But those who then ask, look, he can't do that if he's a vice. But I'm sure the leadership must have heard all these complaints. How come that couldn't happen previously, and then it could happen now?
First of all, that's one of the reasons I'm running for president, because this government is fundamentally incompetent. A government that it takes the absence of the president on medical vacation for positive steps to be taken is a government that has no business being in office. So it becomes accidental progress. That's not what we need. The president has to be away for the vice president to do the right thing. my friend, something is fundamentally wrong. So that, and we should stop celebrating that accidental whatever while acknowledging it and go to solving the fundamental problem, which is to put in place a government that has a president who actually can lead from the front and has the vision and the political will to execute the vision. So the vice president should follow the lead of the president. That's the way it's supposed to work in this particular system that we're operating. And that's why I'm offering myself to Nigerians as a potential leader who can unite Nigeria, because this country is a broken country. Nigeria needs to be healed and to become a nation. A president who can lead the transformation of Nigeria's economy. I know what is required, and I have the political will to do it. I have the experience. I have the track record.
The problem.
And just to finish, and a president who can restore Nigeria's standing in the world. Professor Oyebode was talking about it, how a lot of people want now to immigrate to Canada because they're just tired of being Nigerians. They're not proud of our country, and that needs to change.